It's real quick, just about. I mean, Illinois has got a nice team, played well. Kind of held them a little bit in the first half. Their run, pass. I thought our defense battled, but that's a tough offense, especially offensively. We didn't help them out. Quarterback-wise, Ed did practice. Probably could have went, but I think we think he's 90-ish, 95, and knew we'd have to scramble, run around. So our thought was instead of he could have went at the end, but we're going to go with Dusty. He did actually get a slate. He said, you saw a couple passes. I don't know if you noticed a couple at the end kind of fluttered. Didn't have a lot of zip. He just said he got kind of rolled up, couldn't push off. So that being said, we'd used Trey a little, so we went with Trey at the end. It wasn't a battlefield demotion as much. I think Dusty was a little nicked and could put some motion on the ball. It's nice to see Trey make a few plays. But again, offensively, it's 2 weeks in a row, 1 touchdown, all at the end of the fourth quarter. I think our defense is battling, but still we're putting way too much stress on them. So good team, tough loss, same story.
Do you feel like maybe the turning point was when you got first and goal at the 3 after that fumble recovery and couldn't get set?
Yeah, and again, maybe a couple points. I think the other thing is kind of a turning point. We had a nice drive across midfield. We had a maximum protection, and they brought a blitz, and one of our linemen went to adjust to pick up a guy that wasn't his and didn't stay on his guys, and they get a sack and a scoop. In the first half, they got 21 points and off of 3 plays where one's a busted coverage, a guy blitzes that shouldn't. Just busted. One of our young guys just made a mistake, and that's going to happen some, but we left the guy scot-free. Another one's on a scoop and score when we bust a maximum protection with the guy making an error and just messed up, shouldn't have, but did. And then the last one, they make a nice competitive one-on-one play to a good receiver on a guy that's playing good for us. Competitive play, he makes the play. So that's 21 in the first half. The one time I thought we kind of had ran it, and I actually thought we could run it down on the 3rd down. We'd get inside the 1. I was going to go for it on 4th down. And we called a play that really wasn't designed to be a quarterback pull play, but Dusty thought he could pull it. Again, I think maybe a little bit of our offensive issue where some guys maybe are pressing, trying a little too much, don't trust themselves, don't trust the scheme, or don't trust the guy beside them, or all that. So, when you're a little out of sync and you're a competitor, and I see it in them, where you're getting a little antsy, or you're playing outside what I call the framework of the offense, and it wasn't a huge mistake. It's a guy wanting, trying to do something well. But if we'd, I don't know, it'd been interesting if we'd have handed out, if we'd have scored. But I thought was we typically have thrown it a lot. I thought we were hitting a couple 2 and 3 and 4 yard creases on the 3. I thought we could cram it down to the 1 to get it in, and we pulled it, lost a couple. So maybe not the proper play call, but that was a thought, and it imploded.
How much of you guys pressing do you think was the amount of pressure they were going to get able to get from their D-line? And I guess from that, how concerned are you with the way your O-line played today?
Well, I don't know. In some ways, we got to stay patient, stay with some run, and they jumped the ball and got some upfield pressure. But they're leading the league in sacks, and we got to find ways to move in the pocket and quick protection. So we tried some screens to slow them down. You saw some of those; they didn't work, but we'll continue as we move forward. The week to come with Wisconsin, they have another outstanding D-line. We're going to see in this league good D-line, so you need to get an offensive line and learn how to match that. That being said, the team we played with nice running game, nice velocity with the backs. I did think Stephen Houston picked up today and was kind of running behind his pads and took 2 and 3 and 5 yard gains and got some positive plays for us. We need to build that. But when you're a one-dimensional team, even if you're really, really, really good, you're going to struggle in pass pro. And when you're playing young guys not as good as you want, you're even going to struggle more. So again, we weren't going to not throw it. We had to find ways to block them. But again, I don't know if we lost the game because of sacks as much as they were going to pressure. But Wisconsin do the same deal. As with the other teams.
Did Trey play well enough in your eyes to put himself in the mix for more playing time next week?
Well, I don't know. I don't like I've never been one where you're in at quarterback. You got to make sure as you're practicing things that it's always easy to play more than one quarterback when both quarterbacks can do similar things, because the second team receivers and offensive linemen and running backs, they got to get practiced up when they get in the mix of what the other guy does. So it's not like So that being said, we got to make sure if Trey or any of those guys stay in the mix that the offense doesn't become hodgepodge, which we can get collection of plays and we're all over the place. So he's played well. Our plan the last couple weeks was to try to get him in. Some games were close. A couple weeks ago he didn't have maybe one of his best practice weeks. Just mentally just kind of wasn't bad, but just wasn't as good as he had been. This week had a decent week. Our thought was we needed to play him. That's why we played him early. We got some close games, didn't get him on the field. We weren't going to make up an injury, get a fake redshirt year, we're going to play him. So we decided this week to play him some. When Dusty tweaked his ankle, we'd already kind of decided as the game started, unless something major happened, we're going to save Ed for one more week. That's why Trey played so much down the stretch.
Is Metzer okay? I know he knows he can play. Nick Metzer?
Yeah, he got a little scope last week, and he'll miss a couple, 3 weeks. Had a little loose body. I just kneecap they shaved it. He's probably a 3-4 week deal. Didn't stretch. I think he has a procedure on Wednesday. And that being said, we actually kicked Fred Jones inside from D to D tackle a little bit, with Bobby Richardson playing decent for us at D end. So, you know, we had probably Slager play a little bit more for both Larry and Adam Replogle, and we'll work Fred Jones inside some for the next couple weeks. And Mick should be back end of the month.
Speaking of D-line, you got 3 sacks today and a caused a fumble, only 2 sacks for the season coming in. Did you see better play up front today overall?
Well, I think, again, we are gaining, and I think we're getting comfortable with what the kids can do, and the kids are getting comfortable with what we want them to do. I think if you'd asked him, Coach Eckler said today this is the worst feeling he'd had because he thought it was our best practice week. And he hadn't seen us practice like that, so he didn't know. And again, like I say, they actually battled pretty well. We take out a couple, busted play, a bad play offensively, and one big play. They played a really pretty good first half. And so we got to learn to take the negative plays out. But for the most part, I think they're getting comfortable with the scheme, the structure, the adjustments, the tweaks we've made to help those guys. I think Bobby Richardson playing, Murphy's getting better. We're getting Mike Hunter in there a little bit. Some of the freshmen, the more they play, they're playing better. So,
You talked about D'Angelo. He got in there for a couple of plays, but was he still not quite ready to go?
Well, he's ready. Just had missed a fair amount. And we thought that if you look at it, looked like Steven was, the last couple of weeks has kind of stepped up a smidge. Was playing okay, and same time, there's a period of game where we weren't executing offensively that well, so you didn't get a lot of plays. So, if you would have had some 8, 9, and 10 play drives, you probably got some back rotation. I took, Steven out the one play at the end. I just thought he looked tired at the end of the one drive. If we'd have had maybe more sustained drives, we'd have got those guys. But he's healthy, and hopefully we can move forward. But again, and not that Steven's the answer. He was in the locker room just kind of disappointed at the same time. I said, hey, have you ran that hard before? And he goes, no. And I said, hey, you're going to do better. Keep building on it. So just trying to keep some of these young guys moving in a good way. And it's not an excuse. Just the more those guys play, the better. And we need more plays on offense to get D'Angelo and those guys in the game.
Getting back to the defense, it seems like big plays given up has been kind of a tendency this year. Obviously, A.J. Jenkins is one of the best receivers in the Big Ten. But is that more him making big plays or some problems back there in the back end of the defense?
Well, one was a flat busted coverage where we were in a blitz, and a guy that should have been playing him in man blitzed, and he blitzed him and left him uncovered. So the one was just, that's miscommunication or bad play. The one fade ball, we're going to play some challenge man coverage, and a good player, you can back off of them. They can nickel and dime it down the field, but every once in a while we mix our coverages between challenging and pressing, playing off. The one touchdown in the second quarter made was, against man press, fade route, a competitive play. And Nathan Choate throws a nice ball. They hit it right in stride. That's kind of a pretty good player. Maybe our guy needs to play it better, but when you're playing good teams that have good players, they will make plays. And again, so I go at halftime. There's 3 issues, and one was a couple good players for them made good plays, and we were quite there, didn't quite get it done. That'll happen once in a while. I don't know as far as big plays in general. We're trying to blitz a little bit more. Maybe there's some vulnerable things when it happens. We're trying to play some man coverage. So that being said, maybe a guy will get beat man to man or get picked or rubbed off or not be in good position. But for the most part, I do think the defense, the last couple 3 from the second half of North Texas last week and this week, they're battling, they're gaining on it. We're not close to what we want to be, but I appreciate the way they're working, and they're pointing in the right direction, and we can build on that.
You talked
especially when full kickoff instead of the onside with 5+ to go. Any thoughts going with the onside at that point?
Well, again, we had 3 timeouts, so if they were, we actually had to sit. We're going to wait and see what they were doing. They put their onside return team up, and the thought was, well, if we kicked it to them there and they get it, if we hold them, we're going to have to go 90 yards and score twice. So we thought if they put their normal team on, we could get one because we liked the matchup. We were basically checking. They put their little guys out there. We kicked it deep, and I think we pinned them down inside the 20. I can't remember where. It looked like 15, 18-yard line. That was the thought. And they ran the first play. We took a timeout. We were going to go 3 and out and get it with 5:30 and a short field, and then we're going to onside it to score again. That was the thought. Unfortunately, that's the drive. Then when they went basically 90 yards.
Justin, go ahead. Next question.
You talked a lot this week about quarterback run and just the ability, having a quarterback that could run for Illinois, how much of an importance that could make. Just how important do you think that was for them, this week? Basically, they got 88 yards out of Shieldhouse, and just having to deal with somebody with with that kind of talent and ability to break one open.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll get next week with Russell Wilson. That's what, again, as you're always looking for. And even if you're a pure drop back team, you're going to play against teams that provide pressure. So you got to move around, and so a guy that can make some plays with his feet. You don't have to necessarily be an option team, a triple option team, a zone read team, a speed option team, and Illinois has a lot of that in their offensive package. But a quarterback that can make some plays with his feet. Now, typically, guys that can really throw it aren't that great with the feet. Guys with great on the feet, really great with the arms. Nathan's developing into being as a young player. He'll be a really nice player in the Big Ten in years to come. A nice toy for those guys to play with. So you're looking at a team to me that has an offense that's similar to some things at time I'd like for us to get to, where you can have a physical running game, you can get backs running downhill, a quarterback that can make some plays, and then all of a sudden you play actually a quick game, you throw it out to good receivers. So they got a very complete offense. They're well coached, and that's why again they're 6-0 and they're in the thick of this division as they move forward. A lot of good teams, but they keep playing the way they play. They got a nice thing going right now.